All right. Okay. Um, oh, the reminder general process stuff. Oh, and I had to change, do a bunch of moving around with projectors and stuff again to make things work. So somebody that doesn't need glasses should maybe at some point check to make sure that they're in focus and do the adjusting because I can't tell. um, so the general review stuff, checkpoints are required. So as you go through and you get to a spot where there's a checkpoint, you give me a holler, I go over, we do the checkpoint. Do them when you get there. The individual warm-up assignments, which is it's an assignment in Google Classroom. I was going to say it's a worksheet, but it's not a piece of paper. The individual warm-up assignments, remember they're done to be done individually. There is a, how to say this, the requirement for a full credit on the warm-ups is basically make sure you show that you've thought about this, try to avoid at all costs a just really brief, it's this cause, right? Just make sure you put some thought into it. You can be wrong on those warm-up sheets. That's perfectly fine. We're just trying to start thinking about things and get our heads going. The group review assignment is similar to the warm-up, but there's more questions to it. Remember, those are required. All of these things are kind of at your own group pace. So it's when I put stuff like all of this junk on there, like I did earlier this week, remember that's just, hey, this is all the crap that we need to get through and do at some point. It's really not possible to say today this is what you have to do because you might end up having a different question that you might need to work out with your group a little bit. Some groups will fly through that question but then struggle with another, while another group will struggle with the first but not the last. So for that reason, saying these specific things are due each day, a little bit on the sketchy side. Remember then documenting your lab observations. Now that's not required, but remember you can use that when you take the quiz and the test. So it would be foolish not to. And the idea is that we're trying to kind of mock up what scientists do and what people do when they're doing research. And you're doing research. It just so happens that the research you're doing has known solutions. Where to most folks, working on PhD stuff or doing research outside of high school, most folks there, the research that they're doing doesn't have necessarily known solutions. But you are doing research and documenting those things. And folks that do research outside of high school in a college setting or in a professional setting, they document everything because they need to refer to it when they write their papers and when they try to get funding and stuff like that. The supplementary problems are required. Again, those are due when you get there. They're pretty darn close, or I should say they're really good practice for the test questions, quiz and test questions. We'll have a few other questions that feel similar to quiz and test questions, but the supplementary problems are really good stuff to try to get us that way. In a second, I want to go through and kind of discuss the image from a long filament bulb. That's one thing that generally causes trouble, so we'll take a look at that in just a second. Before we do that, I want to go through and share a general timeline with you from down here. We're not doing light and color section 3. It's kind of cool, but we don't have the time. And it's okay to skip, so we're going to skip it. Eventually, when you get to when you're working in section 4, those of you guys in the room, you look back there, they're the white boxes above the cabinets. The bigger ones, the ones that say like copy paper and stuff like that, those are boxes you can use for the shadow boxes or whatever. I forget what exactly they call them in your activity book, but those are the boxes that you guys can use. If you're doing this at home, you could either use a box or maybe you have a paper bag or something. You just need something that you can kind of work stuff underneath with and have a screen or a solid vertical surface on the back that would be helpful. Then timeline stuff. I went through and I've checked the past few years that we've done physics by inquiry. Light and color 4 is usually about a week. And then after light and color 4, we review and we do a quiz on light and color 1, 2, and 4. So hoping that today we're at a spot where we'll be, excuse me, where we'll be starting light and color 4 at some point today. We might have some supplementary problem stuff to wrap up, but hopefully we're at a spot where we can be starting light and color 4 today with the warm-up sheet or warm-up assignment. And then that would be about a week on light and color 4, and then that would be maybe a day or two of review, probably like 2 days of review for light and color 1, 2, 4. And then we'd be looking at a quiz on light and color 1, 2, 4, like in 2 weeks, right? A week and a half. Does that make sense? Right? And then light and color 5 through 7 is generally 4 weeks. That's what we do after light and color 1 through 4. So that's about 4 weeks, and then we have the test over all of light and color. And then if we're doing the math off of that, we're looking at like, I don't even know what the end of the year schedule looks like with all the adjustments that are being made. So we'll have we'll have a few weeks to go through and do the astronomy by sight stuff, and we'll be able to get there, but there's going to be some mashing of things in there a little bit. So any questions on any of that stuff? All right. Then let's see. We'll see if we can get this thing rolling. A little bit of a demo on this stuff. I was trying to rig stuff up so we could use the projector as like a big light source and things, but it was just not working. So I'm gonna just do a kind of a silly thing. We'll do this. So let's say we have, good Lord, a slow computer. So we'll say this is our point bulb there. And then we'll say we have a, we'll say the opening is a heart-shaped opening. Okay, yeah. Then if we have the screen over here, then we would get over there, we would simply get a single heart-shaped image. Yeah? Yep. Okay. Now, good morning, Kodak. Now, if we say we're going to take this, and in addition to that one point bulb, if we say we're going to have another point bulb down here, yeah. So now this was the original, this is the one that we just added. What happens to our image on the screen over here? Wouldn't there be another part above the original one? Another heart above the original one? Yeah. And in the chat, you guys are saying you still can't see. Really?
Yeah, they're on like the left.
Gah, okay, hold on a second. Give me a sec, we'll get there. Save, no. There. Now do you guys see it, those of you at home? Okay. Okay, so for those of you at home, we started with this as our point bulb. This was the opening. Here was the screen. Here's the projected image. Now we added this bulb, and if we add this bulb, our new image over here, we should end up getting one of these up higher. Yeah? You okay there? All right. So now the thing that I want to make sure we've got then is and if he dials into the Google meeting, it's all on there too. So now if instead of having just two point light bulbs here, if we make this a long filament bulb, so I'm just going to do that by saying zoop. If we make that a long filament bulb, then really what we're going to get, not that, what we're going to get is this image just stamped over and over again. Vertically on top of itself. Yeah? Is that okay? And now, as we look at it from this perspective, from this view, that long filament bulb, we see a bunch of hearts over the top of it simply because when I did this as a drawing thing, I have that black line selected as an outline tool. But if instead of doing that, let's see if I can figure things out. I'll just make the outline transparent there. No, that didn't happen because things are great. I should be able to just do that, can't I? And say transparent. It won't say transparent. Damn you. What's that color? Pretend that's the same god friggity frackin' cinema color. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so if we end up doing that over and over and over again, really what we end up seeing is like the heart shape on top that'll whoop, and then vertical line, and then the thing on the bottom, right? We don't just see a big heart. We see the top image on the top, elongated sides, and then the bottom image on the bottom. And the same thing ends up happening if we have a long filament bulb, excuse me, that goes lefty righty. We have that same sort of thing happen there. Cinema, okay, good, bad. Okay, a thumbs up, two thumbs up. Okay. When we're face to face, you can also say like, yeah. Oh, for Christ's sakes, jeez. Okay. All right. Save and close. Back. So that's the one thing I wanted to make sure we get out of the images with the long filament, because one way or another, that sort of a question, you have this sort of a mask opening, and then you have a long filament and another point bulb sort of a thing. What's the image going to look like? One way or another, something like that has shown up on every quiz or test since I started teaching this class in like, geez, 09, something like that. So definitely be prepared for something along those lines. All right, that's what I got for you for like discussion time stuff. Then it's just, hey, move on back to the things that we are normally trying to do. Work on this stuff, and there you go. Okie dokie? All right. One of the few discussion times. There you go. Have a good one.